What's up, guys? What is up? Welcome to a special episode of me analyzing a replay this week. Although maybe I will still do a normal replay analysis tomorrow. I'm not sure yet, but today we're taking a look at, as you can maybe see, at a WoD. We're doing classic, we're doing 2010 replay analysis through VoDs because we don't have the replays yet. But yesterday, Stats played versus Reyna and took a map in a full-on macro game. No stupid build, no overly committing harassment, just super confident play. And I am a sucker for confident play. I'm such a sucker for that. And I felt, you know what? I think there might be more people out there like me, and they might be interested in understanding what Stats did, what is so special about what Stats did, and how to do that yourself on almost every level. We'll see. We go through the WoD and let's see what we can find out. So what I find so incredibly interesting about Stats' play, about Reyna, as I already mentioned, is just how incredibly confident it is. We go through the early part of the game in double time because I'm gonna... Look, this is not going to be a beginner tutorial. I'm expecting you to know openings. I'm expecting you to know that Protoss go for 1 get fast expands, and that in general Protoss either go for Stargate or for Twilight, and I'm also expecting you to know what each opening is there for, right? The Twilight is there to keep the game on a relatively low eco. You don't actually want to do that much probe damage, you just want to keep low eco. And Stargate is there if you want to play it safe, and until now the general idea was if you go Stargate, you're just going to be behind this Protoss, and I think that might still be somewhat the case. We will look at it in this replay, but let's just see how confident Stats is going into this game. As you can see, Stats is going for Stalker first, Nexus with the hedge block, which is already interesting because this would signal Reyna that there's going to be a Twilight opening happening, right? You see a Stalker, you see the hedge block. This seems very common for Twilight openings, but still Stats is going for Stargate, going Stalker first. No harassment, right? No harassment. Stats doesn't go 2 adepts right now and chase over the map and try to kill drones. He doesn't seem desperate. He just plays it straight up. He opens up with an Oracle, not a Void Ray in this game. In other games, he opened up Void Rays because he did this style a few times, but we will focus on this specific game because that was such a beautiful way of how he did that, right? So he opens Oracle and he goes, once again, this is just what I mean. Like, this is so interesting. He kills the Overlord. He doesn't care about killing drones right now because you can't. In most cases, you can't kill the drones. And you know what that means? You know what that means for lower level players? That means you don't have to do damage, because your opponent is going to be worse than Reyna. Isn't that cool? So he moves out with the Oracle, right? He goes for Stasis Ward, which of course gets only 1 drone because it's Reyna. Then he moves out again. He now moves in with the 2 adepts and gets 2 drones. And honestly, this move he does almost every game, which I find very fascinating. He doesn't sacrifice the 2 adepts at the beginning of the game. Then he sacrifices the 2 adepts later, even if he goes 2 adepts first. And then he takes the third at 450, which still is a very conservative third, because he took 2 gates before that, of course, or like in general, like he has 2 gates in total. He took 1 extra gate before that. He took the 3rd and 4th gas before that, and this is like not greedy at all. The Oracle would have enough time to fly back. With the 2 adepts, he knows where the links are. He knows how many drones there are, so that's very specific and special. But I would still just go for the 2 adepts at home if you're in lower leagues, just so the 2 adepts at home are just, you know, easier to deal with, and you have enough to do with the macro and your Oracle and everything, right? So Stats goes for the 3rd base, and then he goes for the Robo, and then he goes for the Twilight Forge. And right now it seems that Stargate goes into 2 directions, or like it used to only go into 1 direction. Protoss opens Stargate, goes for 2 or 3 Stargate units, and that's going to be it. And then at around 7 to 8 minutes, Protoss goes for a push, which Zergs holds or doesn't hold. Right, that's how Stargate openings used to work. And that's still something Stats sometimes does. He still sometimes goes for Stargate pushes off of that, like 7-minute hits at 7 minutes with like 2 Archons, 2 Sentries. But what is very interesting in this game is that stats only goes for 1 Stargate unit, and then he goes into War Prism first. He goes 2 sentries. He goes almost instantly 2 gases as soon as the 3rd is up. And then he goes into 4 High Templar. And he does an Archon drop at 630. And, well, you guys know that this won't do damage. Right? Like, this is a normal Archon drop. But you guys don't expect anything from this. And I don't think neither does Stats. Stats is going for +1 charge. He goes for Storm behind this. He already adds cannons, which is like so important. He already is adding cannons, and he's taking a 4th at 724. And he's playing versus fucking Reyna. And he doesn't do any stupid shit. He just plays it like as straight up as you can. Like he's getting vision, he's getting charge, he's getting storm, he's getting immortals, he's doing some Archon drops, almost losing the Archons, right? But he's not doing any damage. Reyna is on 92 drones right now. And now hear me out. This is the crucial part here. This is the such a fascinating thing about this game right now. Is that Reyna is on freaking 102 drones. He is 30 drones ahead. And Stats doesn't give a fuck. He builds cannons, he builds batteries. He's like, you know what? No, I don't care. You're 30 drones ahead. My army is going to be better than yours with carriers. And that's fascinating to me. That's important. That's something. That's something very interesting. He just doesn't give a fuck. Now you see him adding 1 more model. You see him get rid of some creep, which is rather safe to do. You could also just do that with charge slots. Like you don't have to move out everything. He gets a lot of cannons and shield batteries. And then like at 9 minutes to 9 minutes 30, he hits 2 Stargates and goes into Sky Toss and +1 for air. And now this is for everyone out there who has troubles facing Zerg. Lately, I've been telling people on like low MMR, just go for Sky Toss at 9 minutes 9:30, because it has 2 big freaking advantages. Number 1, any stupid shit Zerg can throw at you. Like suddenly fucking, like they open up 20 roaches and then they go into like 20 mutas or something. Or Swarm House that hit late for some reason. Usually I'd had this after a push or something. But any stupid shit gets somewhat countered by Stargate. I'm not saying like, oh, it's the perfect hard counter, but it works. And with as much static D as Stats is getting, he will definitely save enough time. So this is amazing. You almost don't even have to scout as a Protoss on lower levels, especially. You just go into you just go. If you check Stats scouting in this game, he checked for drones, yes, and he somewhat checked for like what Reyna's building, and for tech buildings. But we all know how hard it can be to scout Zerg, especially on low level. But in this game, Stats he just goes 9 minutes, 2 Stargates. And then when we go a little bit further, he just builds some more shield batteries. And he builds 3 carriers. Like if you're having... What? You're playing versus fucking Reyna and you just go Mothership Carrier and you don't go for any harassment? Right, Reyna's going into the classic, or not the classic, it's definitely not classic, the normal composition that Zerg is going for, which is Hydra Lurker into a lot of Corruptor. But he can't engage into this. There are too many cannons, there are too many shield batteries, and if you look at the minimap and my mouse real quick, you see how like this path is safe because of cannons and shield batteries. This path is safe because of cannons and shield batteries. So the only path that is scary is going to be this path and this path, and both of these paths are super narrow, so you can just hold them with High Templars. And what Stats also does is having 2 High Templars at each base, so in case he gets surprised by like a heavy committed Lurker push, where he can just storm them before they burrow. And that's already going to be enough damage to save it, right? And Stats now goes into Blink, which is super fascinating. And the Blink is there to keep, like in case later on that like sometimes stupid trade happens where like you lose your carriers, but there's only Corruptors left. You can build Stalkers with Blink or like against Brootlords. Like Blink is just nice to have. And if you look at the bank, it's just, why not? Why not? It's 150, 150. It's nice to have, why not, right? And just the fact that Stats is going for this super passive style against the arguably best or second best Zerg in the world. Like, let's put Cyril and Reyna on the same level here. Is freaking fascinating and should give you as much hope as it gives me. Because if Stats plays versus the best Zerg, and the best Zerg is like 40 drones ahead and he doesn't give a fuck, you don't have to give a fuck either, because here's the important part. As long as you hit those rough benchmark timings with your build order, shit's going to be fine. Because the army that Stats is using, that is not a heavy mechanical army. You don't have to micro the shit out of that. And here's why. On a high level, yes, you have to. But the Zerg has to as well. Like, it's going to be a micro battle and positioning battle between Lurkers and Vipers. Lurkers, Vipers versus High Templar and Carriers, right? Meanwhile, when you're lower levels, do you think the Zerg can use Vipers? No. You just fucking feedback that, or you just fucking storm that, and you're good. I would maybe add some Archons, though, if you're on lower level. And this is, you will see that in this game, right? Of course, the mothership gets abducted and dies. -400, -400, very funny. Actually, very fucking sad. And then he loses one carrier, and this kind of sucks. He lands some storms, right? So the main army composition Burst is going for right now is Carrier, High Templar. Which means, like, you try to punish a stacking Corruptor Cloud with Storm, while ranging out Viper with feedback, and killing Lurkers with Carriers. Like, as you can see here, like, Reyna's out of position, get some Storm done, and then this happens, and this is what I mean. Reyna combusts on top of the Carriers, and then just goes for the Stalkers. And then, right, Stats just goes for the Stalkers. And Stats is on 76 probes, getting rid of some creep, getting rid of some other stuff. The Corruptors are too low, and now Stats is has some Archons, right? Stats has some Archons, like 3 Archons, which might help out a lot. As you can see, they zone out the Corruptors very well. No Storms though against the Hydras, and this happens, right? And when I was watching this live, and remember, this game happened yesterday, and I'm gonna upload this on the recording day, so it happened yesterday. But look at this. Like, the Corruptors fucking died to the Storm. It's even supply. Arguably, Stats has the higher bank in minerals. Reyna has the higher bank in gas, which of course, gas is much more important. But Stats just continues upgrading, continues building more carriers, and tries to harass in a little bit. But right now it's on 200 supply, so he can't harass, right? Also, Stats doesn't rebuild a mothership, which I find super funny. Like, Stats is like, you know what? After that freaking abduct, let's not do that again. Let's not do that again. That's down. Okay, anyways. He gets the upgrades and then loses a carrier, getting rid of the creep. And meanwhile, those zealots are doing some good work because Reyna doesn't have defense there. And what that tells me is, if Reyna fucks this up, if Reyna makes mistakes, your opponents are gonna make mistakes too. That's important, right? And he storms the Vipers here, but at this point, he's gonna lose all of the carriers against Corruptors. And this is a horrible fucking trade. This is bad. Look at the bank. Stats just lost his entire freaking carrier army. And he only has 3 Stargates, which is super fascinating. He only has 3 Stargates, right? Why? He had a huge bank. Why does he only have 3 Stargates? Well, because now he has a decent ground army. He got rid of a few Corruptors. And as you can see, Reyna's bank is there, but it's not too big. And he defends everything. He defends the base. Reyna got a good trade, but he didn't get too much out of it. But now shit actually goes wrong. Right, this was in the moment where I was like, oh no, Stats, please don't. Please, give us the hope. Like, there are so many Lurkers. Stats doesn't have anything against that. And this is one of the golden rules you should follow for your own games. As long as you have 2 mining bases, you're good to go. Because right now, Stats has this base down here. Stats has this base down there. So he's got 2 mining bases. He's still mining. He knows Reyna only has this base and this base, technically, and also this base that he's attacking right now. So as long as he can somewhat trade bases, he should be fine. He got a lot of drones. Of course, Stats doesn't know the exact position Reyna is in. But if you look at the banks, Reyna doesn't have a freaking bank. And Reyna's economic advantage, which Zerg always has, isn't there anymore. And now Stats has an army of like a lot of Archons versus a lot of Lurkers. And now let's see how this works out, right? Let's see how this works out. That's a lot of freaking Lurkers. Almost no carriers. Stats does not engage. Of course, loses. Not loses. Doesn't lose. Okay, actually loses the mothership, of course. So what Stats does is, he knows he loses the base, but he only loses the base if everything is there. Oh, except, rip those Lurkers. Right, so he goes for a base, like he trades the base, which is great. But he will also lose this base. He saves the probes. Lurkers are scary, right? But Stats knows one thing: as long as I get to a crucial amount of carriers, this shit should be fine. And that is going to be a golden rule. Another golden rule. I'm giving you a lot of golden rules here, like 8 to 10. 8 to 10 carriers is a good amount. And now Reyna does a huge fuck up, where Stats zones out the Corruptors with Storm and Archons and gets rid of the Lurkers. And this is interesting because, like, movement is important and shit, but this is not mechanically too hard to control for anyone. Because what makes it hard to control is the Zerg out microing you, is the Zerg out positioning you. And if you're on the same level as the Zerg, that's gonna make for an interesting game, where it's all about out-positioning them. If the Zerg is better than you, you lose. If you're better than the Zerg, you win. Isn't that fucking great? Like, this entire time, Protoss was fucked. Protoss was like, what do we do? Like, everything is so much harder for us, we just died. And now Stats comes in and shows like, you know, if I'm better, I'm better. And if I'm worse, I'm worse. And I love that. That can give you so much confidence in your play. And now Stats took some great fights. He got rid of the Lurkers by out-positioning Reyna, and Reyna obviously overcommitting. But if he doesn't overcommit, no one trades out and it's fine. And just like getting more bases. And this style is beautiful. This style is super confident, and of course depends on the map. But I hope by creating this video and pointing some things out about this, and about the confidence of Stats in this, and just how simple the style is to play. Right, so in terms of the builder, Stats just went for, you know, a very conservative Stargate style. He went for one Stargate unit. He goes for 2 gases, 2 gates, and then just takes the 3rd base at like 445. He gets the Robo, Twilight Forge, builds Warpism, builds Charge, plus 1, builds some gateways, takes the 4th base, gets a fuck ton of cannons and batteries, and there you go. At 9 minutes he transitions to Skytos and you're good. It doesn't get simpler than that. It doesn't. It's beautiful. This is beautiful. I don't know, man. I'm hyped. I'm hyped. I hope you guys are hyped for this as well. Like, with if you can play, if someone can play with this much confidence against freaking Reyna, we're good, guys. We're good. We're good. Especially because of the style isn't like a parting style, which is hard to play. Anyways, guys, I hope this video was helpful. I just wanted to make a video on this real quick. Thank you so much for watching. So much. We're gonna have a great day. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, and check out my Twitch channel. I stream every day 5 PM to 10 PM CEST. Everything important linked down below. Guys, love you all. Have a good one. Beat some Zergs with the most simple shit ever. Take care. Peace.